When you talk about laid back and about hot playing, then you're talking about where your eighth note kind of hits the beat. But there is, of course, the thing offbeat, the thing between the beats, which is when you play eighth notes, you're playing two notes for every beat. That's a lot of that, of course. There's a lot of that in my playing, as you've just heard in these two examples. So I'm going to give you another point to think about, which is that a lot of people say swing timing, the word swing timing. What do they mean by that? They actually often say, well, it's a kind of triplet feel where the first eighth note is much longer than the second eighth note. Well, I want you to be aware that the faster you get in jazz, gypsy jazz, the more you play straight eighth notes. Let's give a very fast example of a blues in C, and you'll see how straight my eighths are. They're basically dabba 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 dabba, like Johann Sebastian Bach would write them. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So a lot of it, if I would sing it, it would go la-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-da-ba-da. Now, those people who say that swing timing is actually triplet timing, they are partly right, but they're not right when you talk about this kind of tempo. But we'll show you a slower tempo, more like a big band ballad tempo for the same blues, and then suddenly you'll see that the timing, the difference between the two eighths, which of course have gotten slower as the tempo's gotten slower, how that works out, and that the first eighth will become a little bigger than the second eighth. So you get ba ba doo ba doo da doo da doo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Etc. So now you find it's much more laid back, but it's also, because it's a slow tempo, it's much more triplet feel. I would say there is no one swing timing, and there are within these two tempos, if you let somebody else play the first tempo, in guitar terms, for instance, somebody like Angelo De Bar, he would be much more triplety than, for instance, if we let somebody like Fappy Laffertin play on that same solo. And those are two artists you should definitely check out. Angelo De Bar, Fappy Laffertin, both wonderful gypsy jazz guitarists. When you're talking about swing or swing timing, a lot of people mean a lot of different things. But for me, it really means not so much how you play those eighth notes particularly. That's a very personal thing. It means for me that the notes are syncopated. And what does syncopation mean? The definition of syncopation is that you play a note on the beat, then you play a note off beat, and you don't follow it by the next beat. I'll show you a non-syncopated rhythm. So you're playing two eighth notes and a quarter note. And the quarter note is kind of resolving that second eighth note that's offbeat. Now, leave the quarter note out and you get this. That suddenly is syncopated. And that gives us the swing because the kind of accented, let us say, offbeat notes, the eighth notes that are not on the beats but they're off the beats, they're being accented. And that gives a kind of kick against the beat. So you get this kind of clash, a rhythmic clash. I'll give some examples in the same blues in C. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Etc. So you see that I'm now playing lots of eighth notes that are not followed by another eighth note. So you don't get da ba da ba da, but you get da da ba da 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 doo da da. And that is called syncopation. And that for me is where the swing comes in every style of jazz. And that is also the biggest difference between jazz music on the one hand and all the other rhythmic music on the other, like bluegrass, Irish traditional, etc. And that is actually an influence that is from the African continent, where the being against the beat, the offbeat, is much stronger than, let's say, somebody from Europe, like myself, would have from their tradition. So the jazz tradition is very much defined by syncopation, and syncopation is playing offbeat notes and making them really important.